welcome to Disney A, the Canadian-themed Disney travel podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Krysta.
Krysta.
What?
If.
What? That worked.
Yeah. What if we talked about what if today?
Nice, Segui.
Yeah. I think that's what we're gonna do.
I think we're gonna do that. We
Yeah.
should probably do that. That's what we have the notes on. Yeah. What if we did that, Brandon?
Well, what if we had some traditions at the start of the podcast?
Yeah.
So this week, Krysta, what is your nerd thing?
Okay, so you know how I promised that every week I won't just talk about Nuimo's, Loungefly, or Animal Crossing?
Are you going to break that promise?
I'm totally going to break... Well, okay, so here's the thing. So Nintendo Direct came out this last Friday, and it was like Animal Crossing. Just Animal Crossing. Only Animal Crossing. And my mind is blown, and all of the Animal Crossing online world's minds are all collectively blown, and it is just insane. We're going to get like double the content, and it's really, really exciting. And I'm like, yeah, it's coming out November 5th, and I have the date circled on the calendar, and I'm going to like prep meals and have the house clean and be caught up with schoolwork and everything so I can just sit and play.
Yeah.
It's insane.
So you like Animal Crossing?
Yeah, you were making fun of me watching.
Yeah, it was cute.
Apparently, I squealed a lot.
Usually, it's me getting excited about video game announcements, but this time it was you. So that's good.
You thought it was funny.
I enjoyed it actually. Yeah.
What about you? What's your nerd thing?
Well,
is it as exciting as Animal Crossing?
No. Well, not really, but for some people maybe.
Okay.
It was a big weekend of announcements, and they had the big DC Fandom presentation this weekend, which is basically similar to what Disney does for
like
their investors call, etc., where we got all that big info dump about all the Disney, Marvel, Star Wars stuff.
That's
But yeah, so Warner Brothers, DC came out with a whole bunch of trailers and stuff, and it actually looks pretty good. I'm hopeful. It seems to me that they're using a bit of the spaghetti versus wall approach to making content,
right?
But hopefully something will stick.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything that looks like it might stick, it might promise to stick.
Well, the Suicide Squad game looks really fun.
Looks fun.
Like super fun. And I'm really curious to see Michael Keaton back as Batman. There was a little clip of the back of his head in the Flash teaser / not teaser trailer / not
weird.
trailer. Very strange intro to that one.
The intro was weird, but the teaser itself was really cool.
Yeah, and Robert Pattinson's Batman looks good too.
I thought so. Yeah, I'm curious to see how that works.
There's going to be at least 3 active Batmans, apparently.
It's a lot of Batman.
That's what I'm talking about. Spaghetti versus wall. I don't know.
So
it's
what
weird.
do they do when they all sit around the coffee shop arguing over who's Batman?
I'm sure there will be a how it should have ended with all of them. Yes.
But I'm Batman. Also, Brandon, what are you drinking this morning?
Well, it is the morning time.
Yes.
So
I said this morning. I guess I gave that away.
The boring old black coffee.
Ditto. Yeah, it is. But I mean, it was a weekend full of nerd stuff, so you know, had to drink the black coffee now.
Yeah, we finished a couple of our creepy shows and stuff.
So highly recommend Midnight Mass. Actually, that would normally have been my my nerd thing, except Animal Crossing. So.
But not if you're a kiddo.
No. Adults only. Adults only. Really adults only.
Yes. It's very, very gory.
Very gory. Lots of language as well, but very, very, very gory, and but very well done. I always appreciate good writing.
Yes.
Okay, and I wanted to reread a review that we've read before from Apple Podcasts. So you could be awesome and leave a review on Apple Podcasts about us as well, and then we'll read you. If it's nice.
We have a whole bunch of new-ish listeners in the past month or so.
Which is awesome.
Which
Welcome.
is super awesome. So, yeah.
So this one says, I have never been a podcast type, but I'm loving, all capital letters on loving, this one. I relate to the chosen topics and all the pop culture humor and references. I love the banter back and forth. I love the lists and thematic ideas. Also, I like finding out what they're drinking, what's nerdy, and what trivia will be asked each week. Such a fun duo to listen to.
Aw, that's very nice.
A little happy face. So, yay. So, you could be awesome, too, and leave us a review.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, now normally we talk about, the last thing we do kind of in our intro is talk about the latest Marvel show, but that's going to be the topic for the whole show, so let's just skip over that part.
Yeah, and...
What if we did that?
What if instead we talk about the newest Disney Plus content that we just watched, which would be Muppets
Yay!
Haunted Mansion.
What did you... I'm sorry, I'm going to be neutral. Let's try that neutrally again. Yes, let's. What did you think about it?
I thought it was cute.
I thought it was cute, too.
It's the right size for a Disney Plus little featurette.
Yes.
Seasonal Disney Plus featurette with the Muppets. I think they could do lots more of these.
I think they could. I think they should. It's not like you're not getting, don't go into it expecting, like Muppets Christmas Carol here or anything like that. It's short, it's done for laughs and for the feels and nostalgia, and it's fun. It's just fun. It
feels kind of like a sketch on the old Muppet Show.
And they have lots of callbacks to sketches on the old Muppet Show, which I love.
Lots of Disneyland references and lots of Muppets references, and so if you're a fan of Disney and the Muppets, it'll tickle your funny bone.
And there are some really obvious cuts, and then there are some deeper ones. For example, keep your eye on the woman who comes to. You can see in the trailer that Miss Piggy is Madame Leota. Keep your eye on the woman who comes and polishes the glass.
Madame Pigoda.
Madame Pigoda. But yes, there's a woman who comes into the room and cleans the glass, and you should definitely check her out and then try and figure out who she is, because I was very proud of myself for knowing that one, and that's amazing. Should I just say who she is?
No.
Okay. Go figure it out yourself.
Detective work, yes.
But yeah, it was fun. I thought it was fun. Mm-hmm. Do more. I want to see more. You know what it reminded me of? Because they have, I don't know if they have other Halloween ones that are in the same vein, but they definitely have other Christmas ones. Like Muppets Family Christmas feels like this.
Right. Yeah, like a
older, obviously.
TV special. They used to do that a lot for Christmas on network TV. Of course, network TV is kind of dying out, so they don't do that as much anymore. But
do it on Disney Plus instead.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, and I think that takes us to the news. Disney A News Update.
What if there was a lot of news today?
What if there was? Oh, well, then I guess we better go through it quickly.
Yeah.
What if we did that? Okay. It was confirmed the extra cost for specific attractions for the Genie Plus update for Disneyland will include Rise of the Resistance, Spider-Man, Web Slingers, and Radiator Springs Racers. So just note, how many of these are there? The extra charge a la carte ones. How many are there?
There's 3. I can count.
Can you? Because I'm about to give you the Disney World ones.
Okay.
Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Space Mountain, Frozen Ever After, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, Rise of the Resistance, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, Avatar Flight of Passage, and Expedition Everest. Those are more than 3.
They also have a lot more of the included Genie Plus ones, though.
That is very true. Yeah.
So, I don't know.
So, I thought that was interesting, and I thought it was interesting that Space Mountain is included in Disney World, but not Disneyland. And happy about that, don't get me wrong. So we don't have an exact cost on the Disneyland ones yet, but the one that overlaps is Rise of the Resistance, and the ballpark figure, because they did say it was willing to fluctuate for that in Disney World, which has been released, is $15 per ride.
Per person.
Yeah.
Woo! So just to note, they've been doing this in Disneyland Paris for a while. This is where it kind of started. The whole a la carte pay front of the line thing, and they've changed their prices quite significantly.
Yeah, they've dropped them a lot.
And it's gone down. Mm-hmm. So they'll be playing with that. I'm not really bothered by this.
Really?
I think it's kind of dumb, but if people want to pay, and it's pretty limited, you can only do it twice per day, and I don't think it really impacts you if you don't want to use it. So
right.
It's less
hopefully not.
It's less disruptive than the old free Fast Pass system was, because if you didn't use Fast Pass, even though it was free, if you didn't know how to use it, which some people would have not looked into it and not understood it,
ignore the Fast Pass signs,
it's an extra layer of difficulty. It would affect your day, whereas this, I don't think it's really going to, unless you don't care about money and just want to go on the ride.
Right. They've also, the big reason this was all in the news is because Disney World is starting their Genie Plus this week. So they're actually starting on the 19th, And so, of course, they had to have all their details. We don't have a date for Disneyland starting yet. We did get the list of the Disneyland attractions that are included with the per day, like the $20 per day Genie Plus. And that list includes Space Mountain, Haunted Mansion, Indiana Jones Adventure, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, It's a Small World, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, Star Tours, Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin, Matterhorn Bobsled, Splash Mountain, Autopia, Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters, Grizzly River Run, Toy Story Midway Mania, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, Monsters Inc., Mike and Sully to the Rescue, Goofy Sky School, Soarin', and the Incredicoaster. So essentially, your like previous heavy hitter fast passes ones.
It's pretty. I can't even think of one that was a fast pass that's not on this list. Not that I researched heavily, but like there's nothing big coming to mind.
Right.
I know Matterhorn wasn't a fast pass for
wasn't.
long time. I know, and then it was, but
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is interesting. There was some conjecture that Indiana Jones would be added to the list of the a la carte ones. Now that it's not, they're not going to add it afterwards. I don't think.
That would be really bad PR to do a switcheroo that way. It's going to go the other way. You're gonna have ones graduating to
like Web Slingers.
Yeah, Web Slingers will be the first one. In a couple of years, probably.
Yeah, I think Web Slingers will go over after the new e-ticket one in...
Maybe not even that long, because who knows when that's coming, right?
Right, yeah. So that's interesting. Other news in Disney, the parks. The parks had a lot of news, basically. Monorail is officially back in Disneyland. This is pretty exciting. It's been closed the whole time.
Monorail!
That was my harmonizing.
Nice.
Yeah. As of the 15th, it is officially back. So that is really, really exciting. Also, Zombie Captain America is going to appear at the remaining nights of Oogie Boogie Bash from What If?
Oh, that's awesome. I really liked it. I did not know this, but that's cool.
I just saw it this morning, and I said, hey, I have new news. This is it. So we're definitely going to have to check this out and see what it looks like.
Yeah, that would be a great photo opportunity.
Yeah. Hey, YouTubers, go do this so we can live vicariously. This is the first character from What If to show up there, which is kind of interesting. They had, several different, basically every week it seemed they were adding something from Loki. So this is kind of cool that they're going to bring in from What If.
Yeah, I maybe because What If was a little more spoilery or something, but I would like to see all sorts of What If stuff, like Star-Lord T'Challa.
That would be so cool.
Would be awesome, and
that would be a very cool one.
Captain Carter would be awesome.
Bring back Captain Carter. Bring her into the parks. I think that's an obvious choice.
Yeah, and then make a live action version because that would be cool.
That would also be cool. She that was okay. Well, I don't want to go off on a tangent because we're going to talk about this, but she was awesome. I want to meet her in the parks, and we'll talk more later about her.
And I want a full animatronic Ultron.
Yeah.
Infinity Ultron. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that would be very cool and terrifying.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of the parks. The December 4th and 5th have been confirmed for the Candlelight Processional at Disneyland Resort. And this is a big deal. This is one of the biggest things every year. And, of course, they didn't have anything last year. They didn't know if they were going to be able to do it this year. And, yes, they are.
And is that going to take place during that special extra ticketed event?
That is kind of its own thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what the overlap with that event is going to be. But it's its own thing.
Because the Candlelight Procession's outside and at night.
Yes.
And these are... dates of like Merriest Nights, is it not?
I don't know if the dates overlap or not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's a great question that we should totally look into. And we will definitely be talking about this when we get
it's spooky season still. Don't jump ahead to Christmas.
Well, I'm sorry, but I have more Christmas news. Again, we're touching on this, and we're going to come back and talk about it more later.
Okay.
Not only the Candlelight Processional, but new holiday merch has been revealed. The Mickey and Minnie's outfits, they always do the reveal for what their next season's outfits are going to be. They're kind of cute. They're in puffer jackets and scarves, and they're really cute. So, of course, there's a whole merch line surrounding that. And there's also, it's called the Waltz Lodge Collection. So that's going to be kind of fun, too.
I like lodge wear.
I do, too. So I'm curious to see what that's going to look like. And again, that'll probably be our news item, in a couple weeks here. Let's just Halloween now. But, yeah, that's up there. Magic Key news. Charter member packages have now started to arrive to people who qualified for that. Said our friend actually received theirs. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, they're excited.
Yeah. Magic Key people, check your mail is essentially the gist here.
Looks cool. A little swag bag and lanyards and cool stuff like that.
I like the little map, the commemorative map that I had a little, could see what was there.
Fancy box it comes in
Nice,
too. Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
And Magic Key reservation problems are back up again. Currently, every weekend for the rest of 2021 is booked.
For now. Like,
Exactly.
I mean, I get it. You've paid a lot of money, especially for the people that can actually reserve on weekends with a Magic Key. Mm-hmm. So I would be annoyed, too, that it's
I would
tough.
be, too, yeah.
But at the same time, I'm annoyed. I can't even go to Disneyland. So, yeah, I don't know.
So we have a different perspective on that.
we do. I don't know.
I understand being annoyed because you spend the money. I'm thinking they're going to keep massaging this and figure some stuff out. You don't want to have like everything booked all the time. Occasional full reservations is less of a problem than I think people think it is, but this is excessive.
Yeah. No, they definitely don't want it to be a scary 3-month blacked out calendar for their highest tier pass. Like
exactly.
That's not a sustainable business model.
Right.
Because you'll just have people not buying passes then.
Right.
Because it's not worth it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
So, we're keeping our eye on those problems and seeing what happens from that. Also, this I just saw this morning. This weekend marks the anniversary of Walt Disney Animation Studios. So they came out in 1923, we know. And they released a montage celebrating their animated motion pictures all in order, including the 60th one, Encanto. And I saw it because Lin-Manuel Miranda was like, no pressure, and shared it. Who's a fun follow on Twitter, by the way.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. It's 60. That's a lot of...
That's a lot.
That's a lot of movies.
Yeah, that was more than I thought, actually. And then they were going through, and I was like, oh, no, There's one I haven't seen.
Oh.
Yeah, and I knew that, but then, of course, seeing the montage, I was like, yeah, I still haven't seen this specific one. There were two, but one was The Good Dinosaur, which we watched.
Oh, so they're including Pixar in the 60.
Oh, wait, no. No, we did the Good Dinosaurs parts. No, this is just Disney Animation
Okay.
Studios. Yeah, I knew we had just watched Good Dinosaurs. I was thinking it was for the 90s, but no, the 60 is just Walt Disney Animated Studios.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
I was
so no,
a
it's
little
just
confused.
one.
Okay.
It's just one
It's
that
just
I'm missing.
one. I don't. What could it be?
Oh,
I don't know.
you don't know?
No.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yes.
Meet the Robinsons.
Oh, that's supposed to be actually pretty good.
I've heard that. Yeah, but I don't know. It's just I didn't watch when it came out and just never did afterwards. But we have our upcoming Decades episode coming in November, so we'll be watching it.
Right.
Yeah, we only have 2 decades left, hey, as part of that. So
That's how decades work.
that
Yeah.
weird. And believe it or not, that actually takes us to the end of the news.
We made it.
What if we took a commercial break, though?
That would be probably a good idea for our listeners on Magic the Mouse
Yeah.
Radio.
So let's do that. What if we did that?
And then we can come back for the main topic.
Okay.
There was an idea to bring together a couple of regular podcasters to see if they could talk about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We call it the Disney A Initiative.
Hey, Brandon, what if we talked about what if? We've done that joke a lot already, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
I'm going to keep doing it, though.
Well, what if we said it was the year of Marvel and this is just the next entry in it?
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not the last one. We have more coming.
It is not. There's another movie coming out
I know.
very shortly.
Oh, man. So I was going to say, this is actually, now that What If is done, it's going to mark the first, Marvel Disney Plus drought. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, you take that with a grain of salt. Because, like you said, we have a new movie coming out. We have Shang-Chi is getting released to Disney Plus during this month drought. And, then by the end of November, we have Hawkeye coming out again. So
who's going to hit us with 2 episodes out of the gate?
Right.
Similar to WandaVision.
That's really exciting.
So I'm curious to why they're doing that. Because it made sense with WandaVision because, they were special, the black and white episodes, and you needed to kind of get into it a little bit.
Yeah, so you weren't am I watching a show all in black and white? What is going on here? Yeah.
So I'm curious about that. But anyway, we're talking about What If today. So.
Yes, but it is the year of Marvel. So What If is the next entry. Like you said, this is the 4th Disney Plus show, but it's the first animated one, and it's the first one looking at the MCU as a whole, not just one character. Based on a comic series by the same name. A coworker of mine has read all the comics and really, really liked them.
Yeah, so it takes inspiration, just like most of the MCU. They look at the comics for inspiration, but they don't follow them to the letter, which I actually like because you run into troubles trying to copy something.
Yeah.
For example, if you ever watched Watchmen, the movie,
Yes.
and had read the graphic novel, it was basically like a shot-for-shot recreation for the most part. The ending was a little different because the ending in the comic, it's really weird.
Never read the comic.
Yeah, there's like a squid monster or something.
Oh. Okay.
But otherwise, they like literally recreated some comic panels throughout the movie. Anyway,
Right.
It doesn't work as well.
Right. Yeah.
It-
Well, and no one's going to be happy.
No.
Right? Because if you're really, really close to the original book or comics, but you deviate slightly, like, it's going to make people really upset. Whereas if you just draw some inspiration from, it's like more nods at the comics than anything.
Yeah.
Plus, then, Marvel's really good at this because the people who've read the comics can still do their, like, crazy guesses online, but they don't just like, well, I know because I read the book, which is what us literary people do.
Exactly. It's like when Game of Thrones was coming out and they hadn't caught up to the published books yet. People knew what was coming because they were sticking pretty close to the story there.
Yeah, and I mean, that's fun for a little bit, but you're not having that sustained engagement with it. So I think it's next level, and Marvel is fantastic at this, I find.
Yeah, they pull the good parts and the parts that work in live action. So, yeah.
Yeah, and actually, the way they play around with it, like as a whole, makes me want to read more comic books, actually. Because it's like, oh, what's the differences now? I need to find out. And you have people who are very well versed in them being like, well, this character could be alluding to this one, but maybe not. Maybe it's this one.
And
it's not just straight out.
And they like combine characters where it's necessary. And yeah, it's very cool. So what did you think about the animation style overall of this?
I really liked it.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I did too. It's very similar to the Spider-Verse movie.
I think that's why I liked it.
Where it's like kind of looks like comic book style, but it wasn't as jarring at first as Spider-Verse was. That one was like very heavily stylized, and like it took me like a good 5 minutes to just like turn off my brain in it, whereas this was like just fine from the beginning. So
I found it was like a combination. If you went halfway between the Batman cartoons and Spider-Verse, this is kind of what I felt like you got.
Like the old 90s the Batman animated.
Just those bright colors and things like that. Yeah.
That's a very good series, by the way, actually. Yeah.
I haven't watched all of it, but I liked what I've seen.
Yeah.
A second 9-episode season is expected by next year.
Yeah, and that was like a well-known secret.
Yeah. It's a secret that everybody knows, but it's 100% confirmed. They're just like, basically the intention, producer, any one of the creators anyway, said it is actually their intention to release a new season of What If annually, like for the foreseeable future, because the possibilities are endless, right?
Well, and the smart thing is they can spin off of the current movies and have the cast come in and do their voice lines, because voice acting is actually it's a low ask. Like, I'm not saying it's easy,
right?
But like, you can come in your pajamas and do your voice lines, right?
There's stories about people doing them, after shooting for the day or between takes on things when they're not needed right away. And I mean, I can only imagine how difficult that would be, but I guess these guys know what they're doing because it totally worked.
Yeah, and so they can play off the current movies and do what ifs on the Eternals or whatever, right? Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Hint. Disney, listen.
I really want them to do a what if of the Fantastic Four where Chris Evans is the alternate Human Torch from the original.
That's super fun.
Yeah, that's what I would like to see.
Okay. You were talking about the animation style, right? And this was the description it said. The series features a cel-shaded animation style with character likenesses are based on the actors from the film. So my favorite example of that is Captain Carter, which we can talk about the episodes specifically. But the critical response to the animation was mixed.
Yeah.
Some critics liked it, some didn't. But they were trying to get inspiration from, like, the 90s comics and things like that. So it makes sense then why I was reminded of the Batman from the 90s, right?
Or even, say, the X-Men cartoon as well.
Oh, yeah.
Which was cool. That's on Disney+.
We should watch that.
Yeah.
With all of the time we have to watch all of the content.
All the time, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, so I actually really enjoy this animation style. Don't listen to the naysayers. I think it's awesome. I think it fits really well.
It works for me, so whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm excited for the second season coming. We actually have some hints about some of the episodes that might, or the plot lines that might get looked at in this one. Do you want to go through the episodes of this one first?
Yeah, let's go through the episodes quickly. There's 9 of them.
Yep.
So
not 10.
There should have been 10, but we can talk about that at the end. Okay, so yeah, the first episode focused on Captain America / Captain Carter.
Captain Carter. So it's always what if, and then you finish the sentence, right? So what if Captain Carter were the first Avenger? What if Captain Carter should have been the first Avenger, okay?
Yeah, she was...
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-Captain America, but Captain Carter's awesome.
Yeah, it's too bad that she was stuck in the past, and like the TV show kind of didn't go anywhere with her, like Agent Carter.
Yeah.
It was fun still.
It was fun, yeah.
And we got to meet the human Jarvis.
That was cool. That was very cool. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one was very cool. It stuck pretty close to the movie that it was based on, with just like little wrinkles. I found that the What If series kind of progressed that way.
More
like this one
absurd.
started like it's like the whole butterfly effect, right? So like one small change and it didn't change very much, but then the changes kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then everything exploded.
Goes yeah.
So
yeah, in fact, so our watcher, who's our guide through all of this, as he says every episode, specifically even points out, he's like, that there's just one moment. He says, that's the moment, and he pauses. He says, that's the moment right there, that second. Yeah. Whereas after that, everything's just chaos.
Yeah. So the moment in this episode is that Peggy decides to stay in the room.
Yes.
Where the experiment's going to happen, instead of going up into the observation deck.
Right.
So then that whole scene plays out differently, and she ends up having to take the serum instead, and becomes Captain Carter. I keep wanting to say Captain Britain because she's got the cool Union Jack on her shield and stuff. But and then it's cool. They have some jokes about Bucky losing his arm and stuff like that.
Yep. Yeah. Wow, man, you almost ripped my arm off. I like those kind of things. And you see what is and isn't avoidable. Like, some things might change, like, astronomically, and then some things don't. So I found that really cool. And you see that kind of throughout, what does and doesn't change.
there's a lot of themes to do with, like, destiny and fate and stuff like that. So,
or you might say, like, a fixed point or something.
Yeah, which is fun to play around with. Yeah. With how they're going in the mainline MCU as well. Yeah. So,
yeah. The second one. What if T'Challa became a Star-Lord? I saw the title of this and I was like, how on earth are they going to make this make sense? But they did.
Yeah. It was great.
It was good.
And this one was probably the funnest one because it was similar to Guardians of the Galaxy. Well, like, it had a lot of the same notes. Yeah. But it brought in the characters in like such a different light.
It was silly, like it was fun.
It was plain silly, and Thanos sitting in the bar drinking and talking about how his plan would have worked anyway. All that stuff was great.
Is Gamora in that one, or who is it? Who's like, oh my God,
Nebula.
Oh, right. I was like, he's sitting and drinking with one of his daughters, but who's just like embarrassed by him. He's like, Dad, not again. And all you get is this like teenage girl rolling her eyes at her father.
Nebula, who's still is more put together because Thanos hadn't experimented on her so much because he had been saved before that.
Before that, yeah. Just those moments I really enjoyed. It's just like, Dad, you're embarrassing me. So that was fun.
And it was really great having Chadwick Boseman voice him again.
It was really cool.
Like a little...
We get him a few times, but this was the focus on him.
And this one was dedicated to him, and it was
I got some feels from that.
Yeah, it was good and fun.
And you could tell he had fun doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the only bummer was seeing poor Peter stuck in Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
And then attacked by his dad ego at the end of the episode.
He's still the guy. Like, it's like the whole premise is they got the wrong guy.
Yeah, they didn't change that part. But
he's just a guy working in Dairy Queen, not a Star-Lord. So that goes a little differently. Up until that point, it's fun.
Yeah.
Poor Peter. Okay, and then we get a little darker.
A little
darker.
Yeah, okay.
Because we go into what if the world lost its mightiest heroes. This was sad. This was not happy anyway. So basically the premise of this one is all of the Avengers are dying.
Yeah.
Like,
someone's killing them.
yeah.
And it's kind of like a murder mystery.
It is. It's that kind of tone to it.
Yeah. So, Black Widow's like set up as investigating it, but is like a red herring that she's also like killing them, stuff like that. And then, you find out it's crazy old Hank Pym.
Yeah, which is cool, actually, that premise.
Pretty cool, yeah.
Because you don't expect him until you do.
Yeah, well, see, in the comics, interestingly enough, he's the one that causes a lot of problems. They put a lot of that on Tony Stark in the MCU.
Right.
Like, in the comics, Pym makes Ultron.
Oh,
and
I didn't know that.
Does other things. So, yeah, it makes sense.
So it makes more sense in line with that. So you would expect it a little bit more.
Yeah.
If you were reading the comics and this just was the episode of the comics, you'd be like, of course he did.
Yeah. So yeah, they all die and it's bad.
Yeah, it's not good. But what I did find interesting is when this starts and they're like finding all of the Avengers or they're dying or whatever, it's interesting, like not only the ways in which they do, but like where they are at in their own story arcs, like where she finds Hulk, and like that. I found that part interesting because you got to explore those characters a little bit for just a brief amount of time before they're killed off.
Yeah, it takes place like right around the time they were about to do the first Avengers movie. And so that's kind of where they all are, and then they're getting killed off instead of fighting Loki.
Yeah,
so.
My favorite though was Bruce Banner. Do you know why? Because it was actually not ignoring the Hulk movie.
Right.
Yeah.
they're trying to bring that back in a little bit now,
but little pieces.
Just little pieces. Yeah.
Okay, and then speaking of dark, oh boy, 4th episode. What if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands? It's bad if he does that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this one's super dark, but it's probably the most interesting character study piece because you get to know Doctor Strange more than you have even in his own live action movie.
Right.
In a half an hour animated thing, I don't know. It really dives into him as a driven, egomaniacal, I want to fix everything type of person.
Right. Yeah. I mean, well-intentioned, but spiraling out of control.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, we think Tony Stark does that, but oh my goodness. Tony Stark is brave and rich and a genius, but he's not magic. So, yeah. Bad.
Yeah, we thought the last episode was dark. This one just goes to...
Yeah.
It takes it to 11.
I was like this. I felt depressed after this one, actually. But probably technically, it might be the best.
It is very good.
It's really, really good, but it's not an easy, like, it's not fun to watch.
Yeah, it's not
beautiful.
The animation's great.
Yeah. And super interesting, but like it's dark.
The magic cloaks are fun.
Yes, that's true. Like that is true.
Cloaks
plural.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
So the basic premise of this is in the car accident where Strange no longer is able to, like, he wrecks his hands. He's no longer able to perform surgery. So then he goes on his whole quest and everything. Instead, his girlfriend dies, and he has discovered that he's able to, as the Supreme, that he can, not the Supreme, as being super powerful.
Sorcerer Supreme, yeah.
Yeah, Sorcerer Supreme. He's able to, like, go back and, mess with time to try and save her.
Well, yeah, so he still follows his same journey to become a sorcerer. And so then he's still in charge of the Time Stone, and then he decides to try and use it to save her.
Things don't work very cleanly.
No, well, I like this because it shuts all the people saying that the Time Stone's a plot hole and why don't they use the Time Stone. This is why.
Yeah, this is why they don't use the Time Stone.
It's bad. It's bad to mess with time.
Yes, that's basically the gist. Yeah. Loki, when they mess with time, it was kind of they did it in a little fun way and things like adventure way. This is like straight up horror.
Yeah.
Like Eldritch stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But super interesting. But yeah, this is why. That's why they do it. And I do like that. I like when they are like, hey, people whining on the internet, this is why.
And then the other important thing in this episode is, if you've noticed, the shots of the Watcher in the background have been getting slowly more and more corporeal.
Yeah.
And in this one, he actually interacts.
Yes, with Strange.
With Strange, which is like really cool and interesting and thematically.
Yep, that was a really cool moment actually, and we get to find out more about the Watcher as a whole, because he says like what he does is he watches, he can't interfere. He and Strange have a short conversation about that actually, so you get to find out a little bit more of that, and yeah, Strange is able to acknowledge and communicate with him, which is interesting, but not very lighthearted. What if zombies? So,
this one's pretty dark.
It is, but it's not also, as dark as the last one, because it's also fun.
It's also fun, but also really dark.
Yeah.
It reminded me, like, I didn't read the comics, obviously, but it reminded me a lot of the tone of the Dawn of the Dead reboot.
Okay.
Because zombies, of course, but like,
zombies.
And like dark and sad in parts, but also funny.
Yeah.
So...
This one walked a line. I feel like I think it did well.
It did pretty well. They brought back a zombie plague from the quantum realm. Mm-hmm. Is how so it's Hank Pym's fault.
Good job, Hank. Again.
Good job. Yeah, and zombies terrorized the world.
Yep. And some of the Avengers become zombies.
The galaxy, yeah. Well, so
the galaxy. That's right.
The Avengers come in to save the day, and they're like, "No, you're zombies now." Sorry.
So then there's a small little group of non-zombie offenders who are trying to like fix things. What I really liked about this one is we get our Wanda and Vision moments. I think so. I like that
in a very dark and twisted
way.
My favorite part was Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man's awesome.
That was very fun, yeah.
And I liked Ant-Man in this one, too, because I like those... Well, those are some of my favorite characters, so I like them not getting ignored for this storyline. This one was fun, but it was dark. It wasn't, like, lighthearted. And it was... I think... Like, it was dark, but it wasn't as dark as the one just before it, so it felt more lighthearted, I feel, as well.
It had more moments of levity, for sure.
Yeah, not just...
the world was still ending, though.
Yeah,
so,
it was. There was... Yeah, it was not good. Okay, what if Killmonger rescued Tony Stark? What? So Tony Stark was the first, like, of this whole MCU world. I know he wasn't the first Avenger, but he was the first in the world.
He was our first Avenger,
yes,
because that was the first movie that was released. Yes.
Yeah. So what if, instead of him going and getting captured and then eventually making the suit and becoming Iron Man, he was rescued during that attack by Killmonger, of all people? That's interesting.
It is interesting.
Mm-hmm. What if indeed?
And so, yeah, this one goes into how conniving and, like, carefully planned and manipulative Killmonger actually is.
Yeah.
Because he orchestrates this whole takeover of Tony's life, and he pushes the villain from the first Iron Man out the door in like 2 minutes with a video clip. Like, it's really cool, and that guy was super manipulative. Mm-hmm. So that was interesting. It shows, like, Killmonger's supposed to be like the sympathetic villain in the Black Panther movie,
yes,
but it shows that no, he's still a villain.
Yeah, and I like that.
Yeah.
I like that take on that. Yeah. It's like. Because in the movie he's villainous, but he's a sympathetic villain. Yeah. Like, you understand his
perspective.
Yeah, which makes a great villain, first of all. Uh-huh. But here you're like it's full out, like, you take his sympathies and you take his motivations, and they get so much more pronounced. It's like he'll stop at nothing, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a lot more power hungry.
Yeah.
For power's sake in this than he was in the Black Panther movie, I would say.
Yeah, I think so. He still has the same motivations. He's taking them all farther, basically.
Yes, and he really wants to do a lot of murders.
Lots of murders. So that was interesting. Also, can we discuss what happens to... Do you want to discuss what happens to Tony Stark in this one, or do we want to wait?
This is the third time that we've seen Tony Stark as like a fairly main character in one of these episodes, and he dies all 3 times.
Yep. Every time to this point that we've seen Tony Stark, they kill him off. It's almost like they're hitting us over the head with Tony Stark is not going to save the day again.
Yeah, he gets dead.
He gets dead.
He gets dead. Okay.
Yeah, because he dies in, of course, the world lost its mightiest heroes. He dies in zombies. Killmonger kills him graphically, actually. Like, that was upsetting.
Yeah, it was very personal.
It was very personal. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so let's lighten the mood a little bit, shall we?
Okay.
What if Thor were an only child?
Yeah, this one like went from these like dark, and then this one's like whee
Party time, literally,
literally,
they're just throwing a party.
So I guess the concept here is Odin returned Loki to his frost giant family.
Yep.
Instead of adopting him and lying to him and gaslighting him, and
weird.
Yeah.
So basically, in this one, Odin doesn't suck.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Odin.
Well, at this part, because I mean, I think there was still the.
Odin's kind of got problems, but that's fine.
Daddy, we have a whole episode called Daddy Issues.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
It's
He's right in there.
Recurring theme. Thanks, Odin. But yeah, so it turns out that without Loki kind of like pushing him around and stuff, Thor turns into even more of a spoiled brat than when we met him in the first Thor movie.
Yeah. Also an idiot.
He's kind of like a frat bro.
Yeah.
Party guy.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that his new war cry is Viva Las Vegas.
Yes. Well, because he goes to visit Vegas and has a big party.
Big old time.
And yeah, so they're having such a hardcore party time that it's like destroying the earth.
Yes.
Which I guess if you had the gods partying, it might do that.
And he brings all of his god friends. We do see Loki. We see him in full frost giant glory.
Yeah, so he's no longer a runt in this.
Right.
He's full frost giant. Got a real big six-pack.
Sure does.
Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of cameos in this because like the whole galaxy comes for the party. Yep. And so if you look in the background, you can see all sorts of nods to Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff like that. So
I actually do recommend on this one jumping on YouTube and looking at one of the videos, like the characters you missed or something like that, because it is so much fun.
There's huge crowd scenes, and it's like, yeah, this is the gladiator from Thor Ragnarok, and this, blah, blah, yeah.
Yeah, it's super fun. I like Mantis partying, and yeah, it has just everyone.
And then there's the big throwdown between Thor and Captain Marvel.
Yes.
Which is pretty fun. And they have a really cartoony battle scene where they like punch each other up into the sky, and you can see the map of the world, and it actually has like lettering on it.
I love that.
This is so cartoony and hilarious. I actually like that. I can see some people not liking it, but I like it. Yeah, it fit tonally for sure.
Yeah, it wouldn't have fit in, the Doctor Strange losing his heart or something like that. But it's supposed to be over the top. It's supposed to fit. I'm half a step away from seeing a Roadrunner sign, which I thought made sense in this.
Yep.
And his big worry after this big fight, the big thing is we find out that Captain Marvel is a party pooper.
He's a party pooper. Yeah, that's terrible. Terrible. And we find out the only thing that Thor is afraid of, this Thor, is his mom.
His mom's coming to break up the party.
So yeah, Captain Marvel calls his mommy on him.
Yeah, it's true. And Jane calls mommy. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we also have, we do see Samuel L. Jackson, and he's not running S.H.I.E.L.D., but he got partied.
He got knocked out
injured.
by Korg.
Yeah, by Korg. Partying.
Yeah, and then we see his second in command take over.
Yes.
And not be so scared to use the pager, which a lot of people are like, why don't you use the pager?
Yeah. No, she just jumps on, uses the pager. She's also not super scared to use nukes, though, as part of the problem.
Yeah, nukes are probably not the best.
Yeah, she's maybe a little bit of restraint between those two things. Like there's areas, those are jumps between pager, button. They're going to call Thor's mommy on her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. But she was having wine day with the girls.
Yeah. It only happens every 1,000 years.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Okay.
So she's not happy. So Thor, an only child. That was super lighthearted. And then right at the end, we have the Watcher talking about how there's a nice happy ending. And isn't that great? It's so nice. Thor's going to actually take Jane out on like some dates, and he's going to be a responsible, attractive, dumb.
And he's literally like, and they lived happily ever after.
What?
And a portal opens, and there's a big robot guy, and you're like, wait, what? And
the Watcher's like, wait, what?
yeah.
And tell me about the robot guy.
Well, it's Ultron.
It's Ultron with...
There's some little glowing things in his chest there.
Yeah.
There's suspiciously colored glowing things in his chest.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got all the Infinity Stones.
That's probably not good.
Yeah. So that leads us directly into our next episode, which is our first hint that it's not an anthology piece.
Yeah.
It's all going to be...
There's actual some connection.
It's all connected.
Yeah.
Which blew my mind.
Yeah.
I was not...
How is this all connected?
I was not expecting that at all.
We haven't been watching like the Watcher has been. So, yeah. Okay. So, what if Ultron won? Bad things happen when Ultron wins.
Trouble with the Age of Ultron movie is that they had to do a lot of heavy lifting to set up the next phase of the MCU, and it didn't give a chance for Ultron to be as scary as he actually is in the comics. Like, he is an absolutely terrifying villain.
Yeah.
And he's threatening in Age of Ultron, but like, meh.
Yeah, we actually talked about that when we were talking about this phase in the MCU. Is it was so busy setting up other characters and setting up the next phase and setting like all of that it was kind of just transitioning.
Yeah.
I still like it.
Yeah,
I think it doesn't deserve the hate it gets.
Yeah, it's probably underrated at this point. But anyway, this gives Ultron his due as a terrifying villain.
Yeah. So the basic premise here is, the scene in Age of Ultron when Wanda reads, what becomes Vision's mind, and because the connection between Ultron and Vision, she understands then what's happening, and they go to stop.
Yeah, she releases the Doctor, and they unplug the thing in the end anyway, and then they create Vision.
Yeah, in this one, that didn't happen.
No, so Ultron gets his perfect body and proceeds to take over the world and the galaxy.
Yeah, and yeah, it spreads everywhere. His basic premise was the same, is he wanted to protect the world. Well, humans, that doesn't work, so they should all die. I guess.
Well, he spent 5 minutes on the internet and decided that humans were not worth keeping
literally
around. Yeah.
Literally, that is what happened.
And I mean, fair. Yeah.
No, fair. Yeah.
But not great either.
Right.
There's a happy medium in there somewhere.
Yeah. And my favorite scene here, though, you said he has some suspicious glowy things. Mm-hmm. So
we see how he got them.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, it's a half-an-hour show.
Yeah.
So they had to move some stuff along, and he has just finished defeating the Avengers.
Yep. Relatively quickly.
Yeah.
And we had the cool scene in the way he's defeated all of them. It looks suspiciously like Tony Stark's Vision
from
Age of Ultron, which was really, I thought it was really cool, actually.
Yeah, very cool, and
and really dark.
Tony blows up again.
Yeah. Of course he does. That's dead again.
So he's sitting there and he's looking. They're at the top of Avengers Tower, I believe, and a portal opens up and it's Thanos.
Oh,
and he's got the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yes.
And he's got all the stones except one that's in Vision / Ultron's head.
Yeah.
And it's gonna go down. No, he gets cut in half.
Yep. Literally, Ultron / Vision, whatever he is, looks at him and is like, well, that's interesting, and cuts him in half in like less than a second.
Yeah,
it did not go down. He went down.
The memes of him falling in half and being captioned perfectly balanced is hilarious.
Nice.
I do think some people were disappointed as to how quick it was, but I think it worked.
I thought it
personally
worked too, because the whole point is that, yes, Thanos is very, very, very powerful. Ultron is very, very, very powerful. But they didn't have a showdown like this.
Yeah, well, it's partly due to time restraints, and partly just to set up how horrifying that this Ultron actually is.
You're not going to be... how hard it was to combat Thanos. Now, how quickly he was able to get rid of Thanos tells you how hard it's going to be to... Yeah, especially because all the Avengers just died. Almost all the Avengers just died.
Yeah, there's 2 left.
Yep, the 2 human ones.
Yeah, the 2 worst ones. Great. Thanks.
Yeah. But on more than one occasion, we have seen Black Widow like be the last one standing or save the day. Like
she is the most competent.
Well, that's the whole thing. Because she's human, she has to like figure out how to survive these situations. She's not just like, I don't know, I'm a god, I'll like call down thunder or something.
No.
Yeah. She's like, make this work.
Yeah, so that's interesting. And then he goes on a galactic-wide tour, blowing up all the stuff in space as well. And
he keeps on doing that.
So the other interesting thing from this episode is we see Hawkeye and Black Widow trying to stop him.
Yes.
And
while he's on his galactic tour of blowing things up.
They find a backup copy of Artem Zola.
Yes.
Which is a cool callback. Mm-hmm. They unceremoniously blew him up in the Captain America movie.
Yep.
So it's interesting that there's possibly he can come back in the MCU as well.
Well, and there's very specific phraseology around this. Black Widow, when they're walking, she's explaining, she's like, it's code, and code is slippery, like you can't really get rid of it. Basically, like something that's code can come back at any point, whether that's Zola or anything else electronic.
So you might see these guys coming back
peppered throughout
in the movies, have Ultron come back and be a little better. Yeah, so I don't know, it is interesting.
Yeah. So we have Black Widow and Hawkeye are getting this backup copy, and they are able to, bring him back via an old computer and such. But of course, Ultron eventually sees things again because he's connected to everything, and he was busy blowing up other galaxies. But wait a minute, there's still humans left on Earth. He's got to send his sentries. Mm-hmm. And then we are left with one Avenger. It's Black Widow. Yeah.
It's a really cool action scene.
It is a really cool action scene.
But yeah, so Ultron definitely wins and wins really, really hard. And then he becomes such a supreme being with all these Infinity Stones that he can actually also see and interact with the Watcher.
Yes. So he thinks for a moment there, now that he's killed everyone and everything, that he's going to have some peace. And
well, no, he's like without purpose and like
super
depressed.
That's right. Not that Thanos wanted peace.
Yeah.
He's like, I have no purpose anymore because his programming was to do this, but he's fulfilled it. And so now what? And if the Watcher would just shut up for like monologuing for like 30 seconds here, things might have been okay. But he doesn't. No, he would have figured it out anyway. The Watcher's talking, and Ultron's, like you said, a supreme being. He's like, who is that? Who's talking? Uh-oh.
Yeah. And then so there's a lot happening in this episode. No wonder they had
30 minutes.
No wonder they had to cut Thanos in half in a second, right? And so he breaks into the Watcher's galactic perv room.
Watch room?
His Watcher voyeur room.
Okay.
And they throw down and start punching across the universes.
That was a really cool moment.
It's a very cool fight scene.
Yeah. So first of all, he Watcher's able to run and hide, and he's like really debating, making sure that at this point Clint is still alive, but that they find the file to he wants to help them, but he's torn because he's not supposed to interfere, and he doesn't, but they figure it out. But I found that interesting because he's so torn on helping them, whether he could help them find the file, and by the end he's like, oh no, I need to interfere seriously because Ultron just beat me across realities.
He almost dies, and so then he has to run away, and we find him at the end of the Doctor Strange episodes, little micro universe.
It's like a prism kind of thing.
Prism micro universe, and he's asking Strange Supreme for help.
Which is interesting. So a couple things with this episode, which was super fun when they're punching each other across realities. Loved some of the realities they get punched across. In one of them, Captain America's running for president.
Or no, he's being inaugurated.
That's right. He won. He is being inaugurated.
He is president.
Yes, that's right. But yes, they have all those different worlds and lands and things like that, which was really cool. And then at the end, just seeing, I think it's a real testament to how powerful Strange actually is. I have been saying I want to rewatch his movie. Probably should. I was for sure going to watch it before the new one comes out, but I think we should before Spider-Man because
I think so too.
Of the role he plays in it. I mean, I got that during that he was powerful and everything like this, but this is just really hitting home. Literally, the Watcher's going to him for help.
Yeah. So, and then that sets up perfectly the final episode, which is all action,
All action. What if the Watcher broke his oath? So he decides he's going to interfere. Mm-hmm. Well, he starts by talking to Strange, and they have a plan. And the plan is they're going to assemble a collection of the universe, different universes, heroes. And then we get this fun scene where he's going along to all these different moments and telling them who hasn't been chosen.
Yeah, well, he basically goes to each episode and pulls the main character from that episode in. And assembles the Guardians of the Universe.
The Guardians of the Universe.
Multiverse.
The multiverse, yeah. And I like how he keeps trying to talk to Thor, and it's not working because he's like party boy. No, he was fighting, but he's like being very, very frat boyish about it. So he just like picks him up, and he just starts screaming.
Yeah, he just starts screaming. Thor screams are hilarious.
Yeah. But when he's assembling them, okay, so he's got party boy Thor. He has Killmonger, which is an interesting inclusion. Mm-hmm. He has Captain Carter, of course. T'Challa as Star-Lord. Who else? And, well, we've got Black Widow, our surviving Earth person.
Well, she's in the Ultron main universe.
Right, so she's involved, but she's not one of Earth's mightiest heroes.
She doesn't get chosen.
Universes, right.
The interesting inclusion of the chosen was a random Gamora in Thanos' armor with his big sword from Endgame.
Right.
And
weird.
And she's with Tony Stark in some weird Iron Man armor that looks like put together with scraps. Yeah. From the Thor Ragnarok planet. Mm-hmm. And this is our first hint. There was a deleted episode, and it was going to be focused on these two.
Yep. Deleted, there's a postponed episode.
Right. It's supposed to come in the next season. Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate because, like, she played such a big part in this final episode with no background. It was kind of weird.
It was kind of weird. Yeah, so that's interesting, and I like Gamora a lot, and I wanted to see what the heck was going on with her. But he shows up, and he's like, Tony Stark, he's like, not you. Yeah. He specifically says, not you.
He doesn't die, but he gets, like, slapped down by the Watcher, so, yeah.
While he's doing his speech about how he sees a suit of armor on the wall, he's like, shh, Tony Stark, you sit down and be quiet.
Yeah. Useless. So yeah, they all gather up and they're gonna fight Ultron, and that's how Black Widow comes in because they go to like his home universe. And,
that's right.
And they have the Zola virus as well, and it's this big throwdown, and it's
lots of fighting.
Pretty cool, and they basically have him defeated, and Killmonger betrays them.
Yep, because of course he does.
Because he's Killmonger.
Yeah.
And but the Watcher has foreseen it all.
Because he's the Watcher.
And Strange saves the day by trapping them in that little pocket universe.
Yep.
Which is kind of what we figured was going to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were all connected. They were all building up to this final climax episode where they fight Ultron and stuff, and it worked. Yeah.
It worked. What did you think about this last episode?
It was fun, but it wasn't as interesting as any of the other episodes to me because it didn't really have its own story. It was just like, how can we bring all these people that we've already met together and fight?
Yeah.
So I think the funnest thing of What If to me is those changes from the MCU. And this one was just all action.
Right. Well, so one of the critiques about it was that it didn't go big enough. Here you had big in terms of action, but not in terms of like absurdity or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Now it was kind of like this one felt the most safe, actually. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, it was just your typical third act climax in a superhero movie.
And it was fun. Like the action was a lot of fun, but to me, you know, the Watcher and Ultron punching each other across universes was more fun because it was weirder. It was more interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're left with these guys going off on their merry way, the ones who are still around, with the exception, of course, Doctor Strange. He doesn't get to go anywhere. Then Black Widow says, well, she doesn't have a world anymore. She doesn't have a universe anymore. So the Watcher drops her off somewhere, drops her in another universe where they've lost their widow. But the rest of the Avengers are there, so she gets to.
They're fighting on the aircraft carrier and the helicarrier, and it's cool. I liked it.
I like that little moment.
I was slightly disappointed by the final episode. To be honest with you.
Every other one knocked it out of the park for me, and this one I thought was fine. I know a lot of people really, really liked it. It was definitely fun. But yeah, I'm inclined. I don't know if I would go so far as saying disappointed, but it might be my least favorite. Speaking of, what's your favorite episode?
Oh boy. Might be zombies, honestly.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. In the final episode, because there wasn't any hero from the zombies universe chosen.
Because they're zombies.
Well, they weren't all zombies.
No, but many of them were.
But at one point, they did open a portal to the zombie universe to fight Ultron. And they bring in zombie Scarlet Witch.
Yes. Well, Wanda, I don't guess she's not Scarlet Witch at this point. Wanda Maximoff, yes.
Yeah, so zombie Wanda fights Ultron for a while.
Basically, they're like distracting him.
Yeah.
They're like, this will keep you busy for a bit. and kind of does.
it keeps him distracted for a little while. But yeah even poor Wanda's not strong enough.
You know what? This is fine. She's still the strongest one, but like none of them can match him on their own. And yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but yeah, they're like, keep him busy for a bit, and he does.
Yeah, that's cool.
Enough. Yeah.
But yeah, I think zombies, because it was dark and messed up, but also really funny. So yeah, it was up my alley.
That one was my favorite too. Although I am going to Captain Carter's The First Avenger because it was the first one. It was super fun, and Captain Carter's my favorite character now not from the whole thing. That's still Wanda, but. Like, she's amazing, and like I said, I want her in the parks. So most actors reprise their own roles. We talked about Chadwick Boseman, but some didn't. Tony Stark, I said Steve Rogers, that's funny, and Carol Danvers were voiced by different actors. Basically, it just said some of the replacements had scheduling conflicts with the original actors, and explained they didn't want the series to be defined by who we could and couldn't get. Now, the controversy with this is Dave Bautista claims he was not asked. And then Disney turned around and said, he's expressed surprise, saying there must have been some kind of miscommunication because they definitely did.
And maybe maybe it was an agent left the voicemail.
Yeah, probably.
It's not like Drax was like a major character in any of the episodes.
No. But a lot of the minor ones did get the voice by their original people.
Yeah. Including like the random reporter from Iron Man.
That's true. Yeah.
She was in a couple episodes.
She was. Yeah.
That was.
But they got her back.
That's very strange and might be pointing to something a little more significant. Maybe. I don't know.
Who knows? Mm-hmm. Or it's just like a fun little nod, right? Mm-hmm. So, assembled the making of What If. We always love these assembled making of shows. Like, they've done really well with them so far. Loki was really well done.
Yeah, that was probably the best one so far. We haven't watched the assembled making of What If yet.
That's because it isn't out yet.
Oh. Yeah. Is it out on
October
Wednesday?
27th.
Oh, that's late.
Well, my guess is they had everything scheduled having 10 episodes. And then they would have waited a week and then had this.
Right.
So that puts you to about the 27th. But yeah, it's late. So, in fact, so much so I double-checked that time. I was like, what? Usually it comes out the week after.
Well, yeah, because this past Wednesday was the first one without a release.
So that would have been it.
So that would, this Wednesday would have been it with a week break. So yeah, with a missing episode, that makes sense, I guess.
That's the only thing I could think of for why it's taking so long. But we're definitely going to have to watch that because that sounds fun.
Absolutely.
I also really, so we were talking about our favorites. I also really, really liked Thor: We're an Only Child. It was super fun, and I loved all of the like cameos from other characters from across the MCU, and just at the end when the Watcher's like, "Wait, what?"
I did like the ending of that one a lot.
Yeah,
that might be my least favorite episode, actually.
Yeah. No, I really like the cameos. We also got a hint with Captain Carter about something that might get explored in season 2 as well. Towards the end of the episode, the last episode there. They found the armor that good old Steve Rogers was wearing. The Hydra Stomper.
Hydra Stomper, yes, which was kind of like a old school Hulkbuster style Iron Man suit. Yeah. So
Widow finds it and brings Captain Carter to go see because they're BFFs in that universe. And when he sees, we find the line is, and there's somebody in there. So lots of like possibilities there. The biggest one is that he's going to be like Winter Soldier-esque, I guess, or like because he survived so long, or there's going to be something wonky. So we have that episode kind of set up, and then we have the Lost episode with Gamora and Tony.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how they do that after the fact.
Yeah. Well, people said, oh, it was scheduling conflicts, and general consensus online is that's BS.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Probably will make more sense when we see it. Mm-hmm. That whole episode, that lost episode, is reportedly set in a universe where Tony never makes it back through the portal at the end of Avengers. Instead, he becomes the galaxy's new favorite arena champion in place of the Hulk, but that's kind of where that starts.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
Wikipedia told me.
It makes it even funnier that then the Watcher was like, no.
Right?
No.
No. Is Tony Stark? Not you. He's like, no, sit down. So overall, what did you think?
Yeah, it's really good. I quite enjoyed it. It was surpassed my expectations. I thought it was just going to be like a fun little distraction.
Yeah.
But it's more intertwined with the MCU going the whole multiverse route now anyway than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like its own standalone thing.
Right. Apparently people are like, how does this fit in with the overall story? It like the actual storylines don't necessarily.
No, but it gives you hints
Yeah.
of the mainline
Yes.
story.
And also
as well.
more like the possibilities, right? And just the fact where they're really leaning into the whole multiverse thing. So, you know, get on board for that.
Cool.
Yeah. Overall, I really liked it too. Anything else to add about these guys?
No, I think we've been talking for a long time, so
Yeah,
that's
super fun.
Pretty good.
I think so too. So last week was our anniversary episode, and we did some trivia. And you asked me a bunch of questions.
I did.
How did I do?
Good.
Yay!
So I asked you what the most listened to episode is.
Is So This Is Love.
And you were bang on.
Yay!
It's the Valentine's Day episode, but I still think it might be because it's the name of a song title and people just trying to bang it up on Apple iTunes, and then they go, oh no, that's not the song.
Hey, if you've listened to it, tell us if you did intentionally or not.
And of course, this is only on like podcast platforms.
Yeah.
We don't get any data on, of course, if you're listening to it on Magic of the Mouse Radio.
Right.
But yeah, and the other most popular was the first Halloween episode. But our recent Halloween episode has gotten a lot of listens as well.
That's cool.
That's in third place right now.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That was fast.
Yeah, very fast.
Well, hey, if you like Halloween, stay tuned.
Exactly. And then I asked you which was the longest episode.
Right. Phase 2 from Marvel.
And there was quite a few. Like, we try to keep it under an hour.
We're not doing it this time.
Fail. There's quite a few in the like hour and 15 to 20 minute range.
Right.
But the longest one was the Canada episode, like for Canada Day.
Right.
And I was like, why the heck was that episode so long? But then I remember we did the super duper long
about Brother Bear.
BuzzFeed style quiz about which Brother Bear character.
Yeah.
And there was like 50 questions or something. Yeah. It was fun.
It was fun.
I think.
It was fun. I agree with it.
But it was very long.
Yeah. I was surprised by the longest episode, though. I would never have thought that one.
Yeah.
This one is going to be in the running, I think. Okay, well, I've got some trivia for you now. Number 1. The Watcher's name in the comics was not used in the show. Do you know what it is?
Uatu.
You said that with confidence.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure on the pronunciation of it. And did you know he's not the only Watcher? There's many.
I did know that part. Yeah. I think I know that because of an analysis thing we were watching.
Well, and they're also cameoed in the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 with Stan Lee's cameo. They're talking to Stan Lee.
Yeah, that's cool. Mm-hmm. Number 2. There was a spin-off planned and actually in development focused on one of the characters from one of the storylines. This spin-off is currently and probably permanently in limbo. Which character was going to be the center, or which episode was the inspiration? Either of those I'll take.
Yeah, this one's a bit of a bummer because this is real world affecting it. Yeah, so they wanted to explore the whole world of T'Challa as Star-Lord more, but of course with Chadwick Boseman's passing, that's going to be a little tough. Yeah, I read that as well. So.
Okay, I wonder if you're right then.
I mean, I think. Question mark.
Yeah, okay, you sounded confident with that one. And number 3, it has been stated that at least some of the characters and storylines from season 1 will actually be serialized and make regular appearances. What is the one that is now being considered the center of, like, which character is now considered the center of this?
Oh, interesting. That I don't know, but my guess would be between the surviving Black Widow and Captain Carter, because those make sense. Captain Carter was heavily in all the advertising for this first season, so that she kind of makes sense as a mascot, and it's an easy visual thing to show with her shield being different, and yeah, it's an easy shorthand for this is different.
Right.
So I don't know. Yeah.
So you can tune in next week and find out how close Brandon was on all those answers, especially the one that we already said was right.
Pretty close.
Pretty close. You're going to get at least 1 out of 3, Brandon.
Yay.
So you can also contact us on our social media and through our website to chat and suggest trivia or just say hi. And you can actually include your guesses to our trivia as well. So that is our show. Thanks to El Mule, who's responsible for the custom theme song you heard at the top of the show. You can find a link to his work at our website at disneya.wixsite.com/podcast, where you can also find a link to our social media accounts. You can also message us there if you want to email us. You can find us on Instagram at disneya.podcast, Facebook at disneya, and Twitter at disneyapodcast. And you can find Disney episodes on all of your favorite podcast streaming platforms and on our YouTube channel, Adventures A. Audio for our podcast goes up once a week, and then we also have at least once a week an adventure.
Yeah, we're adventuring mostly our road trip right now, but
yeah, it's getting sprinkled in with other stuff, but mostly our road trip from the summer.
I mean, it was exciting. So,
it was good. If you rated or reviewed our podcast, thank you so much. And if you haven't done yet, please do. It helps others find us a lot, and it's just awesome. If you know someone who might like listening to us, please recommend us to them. You can listen to Disney episodes on Magic of the Mouse Radio Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Magic of the Mouse Radio can be found on most radio station apps, and its new station, Park Pass, is now also becoming available on different apps as well. On the Roku app right now is available.
I have a Roku.
Yeah. You mean we?
Oh, right. We.
So, you know how for like the last, almost year now, we have been chatting about the best Disney villains? Guess what we're doing next episode? Finally, we will be returning to spooky season time.
Spooky season!
Spooky season. So all you people who like those Halloween episodes, you definitely want to tune in because we are going to be chatting all about the villains. We should, like, rank them or something.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's very ominous.
I'm better than the Muppets at the dun, dun, dun.
It's dun, dun.
No, there's only dun. Oh, okay.
So I'm Krysta.
And I'm Brandon.
And until that next adventure, TTFN, ta-ta for now. Thanks for listening to Disney
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun.